Hi, it's Cassie with Cassie's Parlor, and today we are going to create a fun layout with using a few of the pages from this new Grafix Mixed Media Journal. It's very, very awesome and exciting, a new product from them, and I cannot wait to use this. It's got, this particular one is 6x6. It's got 12 sheets of material in it, and I'll just tell you really quick, it's got some .010 clear Duralar, so it's a thinner clear material, and then it's got the .005 matte Duralar, which is this one here. It's kind of translucent, very fun to work on. It's got the .004 wet media Duralar, .010 opaque white Duralar, or craft plastic as you may know it as. It's got the .010 opaque black Durabrite, also craft plastic, so it's the black and white craft plastic that you probably have used before. And then it's got some .057 natural chipboard. It has two of those. I probably would use those as covers. You know, they're really pretty thick and durable and sturdy, but you obviously could use all of these sheets in any order, in any way that you want, and you could use any of these to be the covers for you. There are 6 discs. Okay, so we've got the black discs here to put it all together once you've created on your pages, and it has 2 sheets of each, so that's pretty awesome. This comes in 6x6 and 6x12, and there are packs that are that have like all of the assorted types of material like this one does, or they have one that just is all the same type of material. So go check out on their website and see all of the choices that you have. We're going to be working with the 6x6 assorted Mixed Media Journal today. So super duper exciting. You definitely need to go check it out. I'm just going to quickly show you the different types of materials. We're just going to use a few of them. I'm going to sort of create like a multi-layered layout and just show you how I do that. But honestly, the way that I work with journals like this, I work with each individual sheet, or you might layer them like we're going to do today, and then when they're all done, then I would take my discs and I would put them in the order I want them in, you know, get my front and back cover, and then put the discs in, and then you've got a finished journal. It's super awesome. With Christmas coming and holidays, you know, people love to get homemade gifts, and I think making a personal journal for someone would be an amazing holiday gift. So maybe think about that, or, you know, even just, you know, all the holidays that are coming, birthdays or Thanksgiving, Christmas, like any occasion that you would like to mark or commemorate, you can make this into any kind of journal that you want. You can put photographs and journaling and however you like to create. This can be used in so many different ways. I'm using it more as an art journal because I'm an art journaler, and that's what I love to do, but you can definitely use this in so many different ways. So I'm just going to real quick show you the different materials that are included in here, and then we'll make our project. So here's that really thick chipboard I was showing you before, and again, you see there's 2 sheets of that. There are 2 sheets of the black craft plastic. This stuff is great for acrylic paint pens, acrylic paint, alcohol ink, so many different things you can use on here. Metallic paint pens, oh, that would be amazing. I mean, with some gold or rose gold or silver metallic paint pens on here for doodling or drawing. You can use StazOn or StazOn pigment. Any sort of solvent ink that will stick to a non-pore surface can be used on the black craft plastic and on the white craft plastic, okay? And so we are going to use some StazOn pigment today, and these would very much, because they're opaque, they would very much show up on this black craft plastic. So that is another way that you could use that. All right, then we've got the white craft plastic. There are 2 sheets of that, and we are going to use that today, actually, both of those. So let me put those off to the side. And then we've got this, excuse me, this is the clear Duralar, the .010. It's a little bit thicker. It's very sturdy. You could cut into it. You could do all sorts of things with this, okay? And so you've got 2 sheets of that. Having the clear like overlay sheets are really cool. So if you were going to create something interesting on this page, and let's say you wanted this to lay over it and sort of like be lifted up a layer, but still have it be incorporated into that layout behind it, that's a really nice way to use these clear Duralar sheets. Okay, then we have, this is the wet media Duralar. Now it's much thinner, but this product is made specifically to be able to use with any kind of wet media. So sometimes with certain things, certain types of non-porous surfaces, you can't really easily use like watercolor paint or, you know, or other dye-based products or whatever, but the wet media Duralar lets you use a lot more different types of materials, and it is clear. So I love the wet media Duralar. So there's 2 of those. Again, those are clear. Okay, and then we have, oh sorry, it looks like there's 3 of those. Okay, so we've got the, so we've got that, and then next up is the matte Duralar, and this is translucent. You can kind of see through it as we see here, but it makes everything sort of muted. Okay, and it's got a really nice satiny finish. It takes tons of different mediums. Just as the wet media Duralar does. Lots of different things you can use on here, and we're going to use 1 sheet of this today to play with this and make our project. So I'm putting the rest of these aside, but again, really they're all amazing pieces to work with, and you can do so many different techniques with them. All right, so we're going to use the 2 white craft plastic, the white Durabright craft plastic sheets, and then we're going to use 1 sheet of the matte Duralar, okay? And we're going to use them in this order. So the matte Duralar is, like I said, translucent, right? So you can kind of see through it. So that's going to be our top overlay piece, and then we'll have 2 white pieces, and they're all going to work together. All right, and you'll see how as we go through. I've got a bunch of different stamps over here. I have a craft knife because we're going to be cutting into one of the pages. I'm putting these discs aside. We're not going to use them yet. I save those for last because I don't use them until my whole book is done and I'm ready to put it together, okay? It's just a lot easier to work with a flat sheet of paper, and then you can put it together when you're done. My big floral stamp and this little doodle dot kind of stamp come from this set from PaperArtsy. It's called Jofi 71, if you're interested in that. That's going to be my focal point, really, and we're going to play on that, but I've got also some other really great stamps here as well. We're going to use Stays on Pigment, and that's pretty much it. All right, so let's get going. So I'm actually going to start from the bottom and work my way up, okay? And you'll see why in a bit. So I've got, this is going to be my bottom sheet of paper. It's the white Durabright craft plastic. And I'm starting with the biggest piece, which is this awesome large floral stamp, okay? Like as big as my hand. Look how big that is. Cool. It is going to be in the Stays on Pigment Peacock Feathers and Grape Candy, okay? I'm working with all Stays on Pigment ink. I want it to be nice and opaque. This line has some really great bright colors, and they work excellent on the Durabright craft plastic. So that's what we're going to use. I'm just going to do a little bit of funky inking, okay? And by that I mean that we're going to start with the darker color, the Grape Candy. It's a really vibrant kind of purple, and I'm just going to kind of go in the middle, okay? And I'm going to ink all over, and then I'm going to work a little fast because Stays on Pigment doesn't stay wet for a super long time. On your ink pad, or I'm sorry, on your stamp, you've got a little bit more open time because it's on this rubber, but you don't want to spend too much time dilly-dallying. So I'm going around the edges with the peacock feathers, or this like turquoisey kind of color, and then in the middle is that purple, and let's just see what we get. It's going to be really fun. So I kind of want it to be centered, but it definitely doesn't have to be perfect. I am not a perfect sort of crafter. Like, I don't need things to be particularly centered or in a certain way. I just kind of like to wing it, you know. But if you are the type of crafter that really likes things to be particular and specific, then definitely take the time to line yours up and do whatever feels good for you. But really, I'm just pressing this really well to make sure I'm getting all over. It's a very big stamp. And there we go. Ooh, it turned out perfect. I could not have asked for anything better. I love the transition from the purple to the turquoise. And can you see how bright and beautiful those colors are? I love it so much. Okay, so I've got purple here, and then it goes out into that turquoise. I love the doodles. This stamp is really quite amazing. So we're done with it for now. So I'm going to take this stamp off of here so we can use this platform for other things. Maybe it's stuck on here pretty well. Okay, I've used that stamp quite a few times. I love it so much. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I do want to have a little bit of something going on around the edges of this, okay? Okay, so now that I have this beautiful flower here, I want to use a stencil to create a fun background. I've got this stencil from Kassy's Parlor that's called The Path, and I'm going to use this to create a fun background. And I'm just going to line it up here, and I'm going to draw around where the flower isn't. And so I've got just an opaque brush pen from Marvy. It's silver. I think silver would be nice with this. I really like the bright color here, and so I'm using the silver as more of a neutral background kind of color, and this is going to create an interesting sort of pattern in the background just to accentuate the flower in the foreground. So as you can see, I'm just tracing around where the edge of the stencil is. And when I get to the part where the flower is, I'm just going right up to the flower and not touching it and not going over it, because I want this to live in the background. Okay? So I'm just doing that all over. Okay, so then I'm going to just move this stencil over, and I'm just going to work with the center, and now I'm flipping it over. Let's see, I had it this way. What if I do this way and this way? So I'm really mixing it up so that I don't have the exact same shape going the same direction as I did before. And I like it when the top and bottom pieces kind of go off the edge. And I think actually I might just take this to this edge so that I can use those on that side there. This will all make sense in a minute as soon as you see the outcome here. So again, I'm just following these lines around only where the flower isn't, and if there's flower in most of the space, I'm just not going to touch that area, just so I can create this interesting background around it. When you create your focal point first and you still want to have a background, sometimes it can be tricky because you don't want to go over where you were. You can mask it off. That's one way that you could take care of that, but this is also another way, so it's pretty fun. And you could use any stencil here, right? Just something fun that you can easily trace will work well. So there we go. We've got a fun background. And then you could leave it as is, or you could color in these little circle spots, you know, to make it more interesting, or you could color in the negative space around the circle spots and leave those circle spots white. So it really just depends on your layout and what you're doing. So I'm going to keep using my brush pen here, and I'm just going to color them in. Okay, so now I've colored in all of the silver dots, and I think it looks pretty cool. There is that page. Okay, so now this is dry. I'm ready to move on to my next layer. My next layer is going to be another piece of white craft plastic sitting on top of this. And at first you might think, well, you can't see what's below it, so how is it going to all work together? I'm going to cut into this piece so you can see through it into the next layer. But to do that and to have it line up effectively, I can see kind of the flower that's showing through here. I don't know if I hold it up close enough if you can tell, if you can see that, but I can see it with my eye here, and especially if I hold it up straight so that I'm looking through, you know, I have it like held up maybe to the light source or something so I can really see through. Then I can draw. I'm just going to use a pencil here. This is just a black Lumograph pencil. I'm going to draw where my middle circle is. So what's going to happen is where this middle circle is, I'm going to draw that on this piece, and then I've created a mask from this flower. I stamped it on a piece of paper, and I just made a mask so that these, all of these points, let me line up that little circle. So all of these points line up with the middle of the point that's going down. And so it makes another flower that's going to sit on top of it. I'm going to like cut that out of this layer, and then we'll be able to see some of the flower poking through. Okay? So we're going to do that. So to be able to do this, I need to know where to draw this flower on this piece, and to get started with that, I'm just going to line up the pages, okay, and I'm going to find where that circle is in the middle, and since I can see it here, I'm just going to draw around here, and it definitely, so now I've got the place where it needs to be, so it all lines up right. Now I'm going to take, I think I need to draw this a little bit darker. Okay, I'm just drawing those 3 circles so I know where to line this up, and then I'm going to hold it up to the light again so I can kind of line this mask up with that circle. And you know, it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, honestly. This is just a fun little journal thing, but it'll be really cool if I can get this to work out. So now I'm just going to trace around my mask here using this pencil. All right, and I don't mind if it goes over a little bit because I am going to, trace around the edge of this afterward, after it's all cut out. You will need a craft knife for this step, unless you're really handy with your scissors of just getting inside a page. But definitely I would recommend using a craft knife and a self-healing mat for this step. Whoops, almost there. I just moved a tiny bit. So yeah, I would definitely use a craft knife and a self-healing mat for this part. So now I'm going to cut this out, all right, and then we will decorate our background, and then we'll layer it up and see how it looks. Okay, so I've got my craft knife here. Any craft knife will do. And I've got a self-healing mat. Again, any brand, any style, they all will work very well. And if you've never used one before, just take your time and just do one little section at a time. So I'm just following this drawn piece as best I can. All right. Keep your fingers out of the way for sure. Definitely be safe if you're doing this. Okay. And just follow the lines all the way around and just take it one petal at a time. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is just kind of a guideline for you. If it's a little bit wider or a little bit skinnier or whatever, it's no big deal. Okay. And now let's just see how we line up. See, look at that. Oh, that's perfect. I love it. I love that now we have a flower, and we're going to embellish this page so it really stands out more. But we've already got some doodles inside of our flower here because we've cut away and done it in a way that that uses that image underneath. Okay, so now we've got our cutout piece. Let's put some fun pattern on here to just give it some fun life, right? So I really like this little doodle dot that came in the same stamp set with that large flower. So we're just going to use this, put it on my stamping platform, and instead of using cool colors, this time we're going to use some warm colors. So I've got, still stays on pigment, but I am using Pink Cosmos and Lemon Drop. So I'm first going to use the Lemon Drop, and I'm just going to ink up the whole thing. All right, and I'm going to put a bunch of dots all over this page. So I'm just going to go here and there, all right, inking it up and going kind of off the page here and there and just giving it some fun doodles. All right, without cleaning this, I'm going to switch to my Pink Cosmos and see if I can get a tiny bit of like an orangish pink off of here before it transitions fully. If not, that's okay, because I love the pink. Nope, it's just pink, so that's fine. Okay, so you could also add some orange or red or whatever you like here. It would be super fun. All right, and I'm just going to keep doing this until I'm satisfied. I'm going to use my black Posca pen, and I want to outline this flower just to give it some, to make it stand out, you know, and give it a little bit of definition. That's the word I was trying to think of. And honestly, I'm just tracing around where my cut line was. And I want it to be kind of doodly. I don't want it to be perfect. And it also is going to cover up where that pencil mark was. So, you know, if you didn't cut it perfectly or whatever, this is going to cover that up for you. Oh, it just defines it so beautifully. And when I stack this back on top of that other page, you're really going to be able to see how it makes this stand out. So now we have two totally different flowers, just starting with that one flower background, and I think this is really fun. All right, I think that looks pretty awesome. I think I also do still want to use this and make some black dots here and there, but let's just get an update. I like to kind of see my progress as I go and see where I'm headed. Now, can you see this black really helps it to give it some definition for that flower? I'm thinking it could even be a little thicker. Okay, I do think I want to add some black dots here and there with this just to ground it a little bit more, because it's very bright in the background and it's very busy, and the middle of this is also very busy. So I just want to ground it a little bit more. Actually, I had a change of thought. What about that? I change my mind a lot. I don't know about you, but I forgot I have these. These are words. They say create, imagine, and inspire. And what if I used some black ink and just did like create, you know, in black around here? Oh, it looks great. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of each word and just put them here and there. And I don't care if the whole word is there, you know, that's okay. Oh yeah, that looks fantastic. I love this. I like this better than the dots, especially with the layer we're going to have on top of this. I think this is going to be pretty cool. So I'm just doing, you see I have it kind of going all kinds of ways. Okay, I've made that line thicker. I'm really happy with this page overall. So now we're going to move on to our top page. Okay, so now this is the matte Duralar. So before we've been working on the white Durabright craft plastic. Fantastic. Now we're working on the matte Duralar, okay? And this is our final layer. This will sit on top of all of it. And the focal point for this layer is going to be this sentiment stamp. It says, "Everything you need is already inside," from Bill Bowerman. Looks like he said that. And that is going to sit right in the middle. So I'm going to go with peacock feathers in the middle of this stamp, and then I'm going to do purple on the top and bottom just to make it a little bit more interesting and kind of tie it back to that bottom piece. So I'm putting the peacock feathers in the middle, and then I've got the grape candy, and I'm just kind of going over the top and the bottom just a little bit. I got a little bit more on the top than I planned, but this is great. I think it's going to be great, and it's going to look really cool. And I am going to line these up and stamp so that I make sure I get it where I want it. Remember, I don't have a ton of time, but I want to make sure I'm getting it kind of in the middle of where that flower is. Oh, it's so perfect. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, because we've created this interesting pattern paper behind here, we don't really have to do anything else to this sheet because you're gonna get all of that, everything that's behind it. Look at this. I mean, look at this. Oh, it's just, it's just gorgeous. I love it so, 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 so much. Okay, I think we're just about done. There was one thing I forgot I wanted to do on this bottom piece. While that's sort of drying and I do think I will like it a little bit better if I trace around this background with the black. I think that will just ground it a little bit better. I just really like that outline. So, yeah, I do. I really like that better with the black around the edges there. Let me show you that up close. So, so pretty. You know, I'm going to show you each page individually again, and then I'll layer them up and we can see them all together. So here's our first page we made, and this is the base layer for the final project piece. And then this is the middle layer where we've cut out this flower out of the center and created a really fun kind of patterned background with stamps and Stays On Pigment ink, and you can see how beautifully they layer up. And then we have our top layer, which was made with matte Duralar. It's got a beautiful phrase on it. It says, "Everything you need is already inside," Bill Bowerman. Stays On Pigment, and of course this is going to sit right on top of our final piece of the page. So now if we put this all together, this is what we have. So now you can still see all three layers, and they work beautifully together, but they also, I think, work great on their own. So I'm actually going to show you how to do the discs here in case you've never done these before, and then it'll allow me also to be able to flip these pages so you can see how they are, you know, how they kind of work on their own too. So just take one moment here. So really, these just have their discs that have like a lip on either side all the way around, and it makes it really easy to just kind of slip it in to that slot right here that's already been punched out for you, and it makes a really cool binding for your journal. All right, and you just do all 6. You see how easy this is? They just pop right in there, and then you've got this really fun interesting sort of binding here. And now we can flip our journal. Okay, so we've got the first page that has our beautiful quote, and then you open to the next page and you've got that really cool pattern paper with the cutout center for the flower, and then finally the last page gives you the main flower with a fun background. All right, so that is our project for today. I hope this was inspiring for you. I hope that you are excited to give this Mixed Media Journal a try. This is the 6x6, and they also have a 6x9, which is a little bit taller and also really, really fun to use. I hope that you enjoyed this. For more inspiration, please visit graphicarts.com. And if you like this video and would like to see more, please consider subscribing to Kassy's Parlor on YouTube and hitting the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thanks so much for hanging out.